Victoria, really, okay, gotta get that. Okay. So thank you all for joining us again. It's always nice to be with this group and uh, just 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 nice in this cold evening to be with warm friends. So it's just a very nice thing. Tonight and the next night that I'm with you, we're going to do a little dive into the neuroscience of wellness. So some of you may know that Philadelphia is actually a pretty large repository of neuroscience. Dr. Andrew Newberg may be a name that is familiar to some of you. He was formerly at the University of Pennsylvania and is now with Thomas Jefferson. And one of his colleagues, Dr. Mark Waldman, another brilliant neuroscientist, who sort of started with research around the nervous system. It's sort of essentially that's what neuroscience is. It's a look at how the nervous system works. And during this time of COVID, for many of us, our nervous system has been working double time and a half, hasn't it? For sure. Over time, neuroscience has really evolved to certainly a big effort at research around the nervous system, but also has been doing much more in the way of helping all of us take a look at our sensory and motor and cognitive systems and how they might work well together. And essentially, a simple way to think about it is, what do we do with our mind and what do we do with our time? So how do we sort of best spend our days in the best use of time and in the best use of making our minds work in our best possible interest. So tonight, what I'd like to do is to draw upon what I've been reading, and I have been reading a lot of neuroscientific literature, as has Meg, I know, because we talk about this a lot, and maybe share some ideas that I hope will be helpful. And as always, our intention for tonight and in all our sessions is the value of kindness for ourselves. So we're going to start by kind of sitting in our chairs and relaxing our face. Okay, just kind of, and I see Janine's kind of rolling her neck. That's a very good thing to do. Noticing where our shoulders are in relation to our neck, and hopefully they're down and relaxed. Moving your shoulders away from our jaw. Taking a deep breath to the count of 4, like we have done in past weeks. Breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, breathe out for 4, pause. Okay. Noticing and feeling the support of the chair you're sitting in and the floor beneath your feet. Moving the tension out of our bodies and smiling. Starting my internal love engine, smiling. Okay. So, what are some things that we might incorporate into our life to improve our mind and make best use of our time? So for tonight, I'm going to draw upon the work of somebody whose work I have really come to like, because she gives very practical tips. Her name is Dr. Wendy Suzuki. She's a neuroscientist from New York University. She wrote a wonderful book called Good Anxiety, Building Resilience for Good Mental Health. And that's essentially what we're going to talk about, good mental health. Okay, so tip number 1, and over time we'll be getting into 10 tips, but tonight we're just going to take a look at a few of them just so you kind of get the idea of thinking about some ways that you might incorporate it just into your day. Now, remember, none of this is intended to be a cookbook, okay? The idea is you pick up some ideas, you incorporate them, you kind of see if it fits for you. And if it does, wonderful. And if it doesn't, you just let it go, okay? But the idea here is just to kind of share some ideas that hopefully will be providing you with moments of ease, of kindness, of gentility. Okay. So the first tip Dr. Suzuki provides in her book is to start the day by visualizing positive outcomes. And by this, what she suggests is that when you wake up in the morning and you're kind of laying in bed for those few seconds before you put your little tootsies on the floor, what you might want to do is to think about your day ahead of you. And if possible, add a little twist to it by thinking about how everything that you have planned for the day can and will turn out well. So the idea is to build the muscle of positive outcomes by kind of setting the tone for how the day will unfold. So as an example, if you have a doctor's appointment, you can spend a few seconds visualizing what'll happen when you get into the doctor's office and what you would like to hear the doctor say. Or today is the day that your child is having his or her IEP meeting, and you have some ideas about how you would like the course of the meeting to go. So the idea is to start that positivity by thinking about the experience before you even get out of bed in the morning. You know, this person will say this thing, that this person will say that thing, and just kind of set the tone for how you would expect things to unfold. So one of the little tips that I have taken from this is sometimes, especially if I know that it's going to be a difficult day and I'm going to be dealing with some difficult people or situations, one way that I take this suggestion, incorporate this suggestion, is by kind of seeing a visual of a heart and sending that visual to the person. So I may not be able to control their every thought or their every action, but from my perspective, what I can do is to send them a little love. So that's another way of doing it, by setting up that that muscle of expecting positive outcomes. Okay. The other, another suggestion that Dr. Suzuki recommends is taking difficult emotions like anxiety or fear or worry and thinking about what the opposite of that would be. So, and we engage in this all the time. So it's just a matter of being a little bit more mindful and a little bit more conscious of it. So, for example, you can turn anxiety into a form of progress. Our brain's ability to constantly learn new things is what makes us resilient. And anger can block us, or it can be a motivator. Many of you have very direct experience with this. Your child's IEP or individual service plan is not being properly implemented. It's upsetting for sure, and you're angry, and justifiably so. It's not that you can take the emotion away, but you can, it is suggested that you can reorient it by giving suggestions, going to the school, making recommendations, just kind of flipping that emotion around and thinking perhaps even ahead of time how you might do that. Or we think of fear as something as being terrible, but on the other hand, fear can, because it can trigger memories of past failures, or fear can make us careful about making decisions. The COVID situation, as an example, especially at the beginning, when there were all of these unknowns. I mean, every day we were getting different information about what this all was. And most of us felt great dread, right? I mean, you felt this pang, this thought about, what's coming next. But as a practical matter, at some point, it did, in fact, focus our decision making about how to respond to vaccinations or not, masks or not, going to family gatherings or not. So while these emotions are inherently thought to be complicated and difficult, they can also be turned around to help us propel ourselves in a direction that is and good and in our best interest. Worry, as another example, can make us procrastinate, or it can adjust our expectations and help us set realistic priorities. So in a number of classes, meditation classes around mindfulness, the idea is not to sublimate the feelings, but to recognize the feelings, to feel the feelings, and then to make a conscious and mindful decision about, okay, I'm feeling fear. I know it's fear. What can I do to turn this situation around? What is the antidote to fear? Or what is the antidote to anxiety? Or what is the antidote to worry? Or whatever the emotion is that we're feeling. So and by doing that over time, and I'm not suggesting that it's easy or quick, but it is something that we can incorporate into making our mind and our time run a little bit more smooth. Okay. Another suggestion that Dr. Suzuki makes, and many neuroscientists do, I've seen this in many, many articles, is to at least once a week, try something new. Now, Visions is offering all these wonderful courses. And if you are looking for something to occupy your time and opportunity, that might be something new and easy and readily accessible. Something typically outside your comfort zone. So it could be classes. I don't know how many of you know Jim Donovan. Jim Donovan was a drummer for the group called Rusted Root, and he offers several classes online. One of them is Drumming for Healing, and I just finished 4 weeks of Drumming for Healing. So every Monday night for the last 4 weeks, I've been getting out my little drum sitting right here and drumming to my heart's content in a kind of a mindful way. And I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I could keep the rhythms. I didn't think I could get the beat, but it's just been great and taking me out of my comfort zone. So trying something new is a very good thing to do. A new haircut, new makeup, all of those things are ways of kind of reconfiguring the flow of thinking. It doesn't have to be anything major or dramatic. It can be something as simple as, so if today you brush your teeth and you move to the right, tomorrow brush your teeth and move to the left. That's a little trick for getting your left and right hemispheres working a little bit better. So even trying something new like that, and it's fun. Or when you're brushing your teeth, how about dancing? Wiggling your hiney when you're doing it. Something new, probably something you didn't do this morning. So anything that constitutes something new and different is good for your mind, can be fun, and is good for your brain too. Um, uh, it, it literally helps with improving the circuit pathways, and it gives us an opportunity to reset and to think about what it is that we're doing in a little different and fun way. So these are three of the suggestions that you will see typically in all of the neuroscientific literature, and can be very helpful. So I thought we might do a little meditation, since we're getting closer and closer to bedtime, in line with what we've been talking about tonight. And since your shoulders are away from your neck and your face is relaxed and you're smiling and you're kind of in good form to do a little quick meditation, and then we can open it up for questions if anybody has them. That would certainly be absolutely fine. Okay, so I'm going to have you get comfortable in your chair, and we're going to start with the breath. So just breathe in and out easily. And of course, what we want to do is to make sure that your tummy and your chest are filling up with your breath in a gentle, easy pattern. Each breath that you notice and observe is confirmation and affirmation that you are alive right in this moment. Each breath that you take is an opportunity to pay attention to your mind and your body. Each out breath is opening growth and change in your perspective. Be here now with your breath. And now take a moment to notice and to think, what agitates you or ruffles your feathers? Some days you may be experiencing frustration and resentment. Many things can occur in the day that can feed anger. Just notice what thoughts and sensations arise without trying to change or fix them. Simply let them be. Now, pay attention to what is good about right now. What is good about right now? Perhaps you've had a nice dinner and feel full and comfortable. Perhaps your car is running smoothly. Perhaps you feel particularly good in the outfit that you're wearing or the makeup that you put on. Perhaps you've completed important work today with family, and there's a sense of accomplishment and relief. Take a mindful moment to breathe in the goodness, breathe in the goodness, and exhale what you perceive to be wrong. Now, lastly, consider the times that when you have been guided by the power of tenderness and compassion. Perhaps it was when your child spilled his drink everywhere and you didn't let it upset you. Perhaps it was a time when you let someone go ahead of you in line at the grocery store. You weren't in a hurry, and it felt good to be kind to a stranger. With each in breath and out breath, take in those occasions and memories of being kind and know that they reside in you and are always part of who you are. Okay. Such lovely faces, such beautiful and serene faces. Thank you very much.